Hey, what's going on guys, my name is EndingGamertag and I'm back for your daily Fortnite video. In today's video, I'll be going over how you can get stretched resolution on console Fortnite, of course pertaining to Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Now if you guys going to enjoy the video or find it helpful, a like would be very much appreciated. On the contrary, if you genuinely dislike today's video, then by all means feel free to leave a dislike. And if you're new around here and would like to see more daily Fortnite content like this in the future, then feel free to subscribe as well as turning on those post notifications. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's hop right into this. Now I've made a couple of videos in the past sharing with you guys how to get stretch resolution on console. Once again, Xbox One and PS4 is basically all that you can do this on. And since then, this was about a few months ago, I've had a lot of questions of people asking me if this still works, asking if I can make an update and if there's any new methods and so on and so forth. So in today's video, I'm not only updating for those people asking questions and helping them out, but also for the people that have not yet viewed those videos, I'm going to share with you guys how you can go about getting stretch res on Xbox One and PS4. So I'm firstly going to share with you guys how to do it on both consoles, how you can reverse it if you want to switch it back, and then lastly I'm going to talk about the benefits, the pros and cons that you'll get from actually using stretch res on console. So let's get right into this. So firstly, for Xbox One, if you're doing this, you simply want to click the Xbox button on your controller, head over to settings, then click on display and sound. From here we're going to go to video output. We're then going to select video fidelity and overscan, and then right here where it says HDMI over override, we're simply going to switch this over to DVI. After making this change, you'll automatically see that you're now in stretched resolution. Now, if it doesn't make a difference for you whatsoever, and if your screen goes black, then the chances are that your TV or monitor simply doesn't support this resolution. And if you're worried that this is going to happen to you, chances are it won't. I'd say maybe 1 out of like 80 people that tried this will run into this issue. And the reason we're switching from HDMI to DVI is because HDMI simply supports 1080p as well as 720p resolution, whereas when you switch it over to DVI, you're given different resolution options. Now in the video in the background, when I uploaded my first video on how to do this, basically the Elgato is unable to record or capture this resolution, so basically it goes black and stops recording. So in my first video where I discussed this, I simply wasn't able to show the gameplay and people were accusing me of lying for whatever reason. I guess there's always skeptics out there. So that's why in the video in the background you can simply see that I'm using my iPhone to record this, just for, I guess, proof, because nowadays you have to provide any ounce of proof for anyone to believe you. And that's basically why I was recording with my iPhone for this specific time. Now I'd like to preface that once you do make this change over to stretch res, you'll initially see a loss in quality. And that's kind of the sacrifice that we're making. We're giving up quality for the stretch res. Now, a lot of people actually kind of get used to this after a while. At first, it's kind of like straining on the eyes and it just feels very unnatural. But after you play it for a few games and eventually get used to it after a couple of hours, then obviously it'll just feel normal and natural to you. However, if you cannot get over that quality loss, which is kind of understandable, in my previous videos where I discussed this, I'd say about 10% of people just couldn't get over the quality loss and were just willing to stick with the regular HD. So if you want to basically go back and revert the changes, you simply want to once again click the Xbox button, go to settings, display and sound settings, click on video output, and then go to video fidelity and overscan and simply switch it back to HDMI. After doing this, we're going to press B once and then change the resolution to 1080p or 720p, whichever one you're basically given. From here, you'll eventually see that it's actually now reverted back to your regular resolution. Now for the people who originally tried to get stretch resolution and the screen went black, this is an issue that realistically very small amount of people will run into, but people do run into it nonetheless. The way to simply fix this is just sit on the black screen for about 20 seconds. Don't press any buttons, just sit there and it'll go back to your original resolution. I know a lot of people were asking me questions about this in my previous video discussing this, saying that the screen went black and they didn't know what to do. Simply just don't press any buttons and it'll go back to your original resolution. So that's basically how you can fix it. So that's how you can get stretch resolution on Xbox One and how to revert it if of course you want to change it back. And then lastly, if it doesn't work for you, how to bypass that. Now for PlayStation 4 players. Keep in mind I'm an Xbox One player, so although I've never done this on PS4, this is kind of common knowledge in terms of how you get stretch res on PS4. So for PlayStation 4, we want to press the PlayStation button on our controller. Head over to settings and then click on display and sound. Then you want to lastly click on display area settings. You're not going to see there's two options on the screen. There's going to be enlarge and shrink. Now you typically think you'd probably enlarging it due to the fact that that'd be stretching it. However, that's not what we're doing here. We're simply going to shrink the screen. Continue doing this as much as you can and it'll eventually reach a point where you can no longer shrink it. After doing this, we simply want to apply our settings and then back out. And from here you should have stretch resolution. Once again, if it doesn't work for you, this is just due to the fact that your TV or monitor is unable to support the resolution, and at this point there's really nothing you can do about it other than just buying a new monitor or TV, which to be honest really isn't worth it in my opinion. Now from here, you now have stretch res on PS4. Same thing goes, you'll probably see a loss in quality, and if you cannot get over the quality dip and you do want to revert it back, simply go back to the area where we're at, the display area settings, and then just continuously enlarge it back to what it was originally at, and now you've reverted it back to normal. So in PlayStation 4, not only is it easier to actually get stretch res, but at the same time you're going to have a little bit higher quality once you're doing this than players on Xbox One, so you guys kind of have the advantage in that aspect. So that is how you guys can do it on both consoles. If you have any questions about this, then feel free to leave a comment down below stating your question, and I'll be sure to try my best to help you. Now I want to talk about the pros and cons and the benefits of stretch res on console, and kind of describing why people used it on PC and if you'll see basically the same benefits on console. So one of the main reasons people use stretch res on PC when it was kind of allowed was due to the fact that they got an FPS boost, meaning their frames per second were higher. What this does in translation is basically make the game a lot smoother. Unfortunately, consoles such as Xbox One and PlayStation 4 are capped at 60 FPS. So no matter what we do, any settings change we make, or any sacrifices we give up, the FPS is always going to remain at 60 FPS. So unfortunately, we're not going to see this benefit. On the bright side though, future consoles, the next generation that we'll see, will definitely release higher FPS, so that's something to look forward to. Another reason a lot of PC players used stretch resolution when it was allowed was due to the fact that they basically said they felt like they had wider hitboxes. And this is a controversial topic and kind of a gray area. People that enjoyed using stretch resolution said that this was the case. They felt like the hitboxes were wider. However, the people on the other side of the spectrum that were not fans of stretch res and didn't like it at all would claim that this was more of a placebo effect, and that if anything there really wasn't a hitbox that appeared wider, and that's kind of the way it goes. And this is partly true, the hitboxes aren't necessarily wider, but due to the fact that the screen appears stretched and everything in the game appears wider, the hitboxes are going to seem to be wider as well as the crosshairs. So this will definitely help with accuracy, and if anything it's more of like a visual, not necessarily an illusion, but like a visual effect. So definitely once you do get used to this and you start playing, you'll probably see that your accuracy is going to improve quite a lot. I know when I used stretch resolution at first, I was kind of unused to it and it just felt unnatural, but after a couple of hours of playing on it, I definitely felt like my accuracy improved significantly. So basically no, by definition, the hitboxes are not wider, but due to the fact that the visual stretch of it all in terms of the crosshairs and basically the player models appear wider, this kind of will be a benefit in the long run. And then thirdly and lastly, one of the main benefits that PC players kind of talked about in terms of stretch resolution was button input reaction time, meaning whenever they press a key on their keyboard such as W to move forward, the game would basically react a lot quicker, and this is what's known as button input. And this is another benefit you'll see on console Fortnite, of course Xbox One and PS4. So when you press like Y or triangle, basically it'll happen a lot quicker in game. And you guys will know exactly what I'm talking about once you make the change over and play in the game yourself. Whenever you press a button, it just feels like the game reacts a lot quicker than what it originally would have. And this definitely is helpful. So basically overall stretch resolution for Xbox One and PS4, you're kind of giving up quality just a little bit for some other benefits. Now if you're wondering if I use stretch resolution on my Xbox One, I currently don't, and the reason being is because like I mentioned, my Elgato is unable to record the gameplay. So whenever I play in a game and let's say I have stretch resolution on and I get a really good game that I want to record, I'm unable to do so because my Elgato basically will not record it. So I had to revert back to HD, so I had to revert back to my original resolution, therefore I could make content for YouTube. Obviously I guess I could go back and forth, but then I would just feel uncomfortable in both of the displays. So that's why I basically play on regular resolution. However, I know in my previous videos, a lot of people still are using the stretch resolution and kind of liked it. So I'd say this is for most people if you're really curious of the stretch resolution hype, or if you just want to see if you like it. Chances are you probably will after a little while. However, of course, there might be a smaller group that doesn't like it, and that's understandable. So that's basically it for today's video. I wanted to discuss not only how you guys can get stretch res on Xbox One as well as PS4, I then talked about how you guys can revert it back to what it was originally if you didn't like it. I also discussed basically if it will work for you, and if it doesn't, the reason why. And then lastly, I talked about the pros and cons and the benefits you'll see. So if you guys enjoyed today's video or found it helpful, once again, a like would be very much appreciated. Also, on the contrary, if you genuinely dislike today's video, then by all means feel free to leave a dislike. That's a great way of me seeing the feedback and basically seeing what I need to improve on. And if you're new around here and would like to see more daily Fortnite content like this in the future, then feel free to subscribe as well as turning on those post notifications. Anyways, my name is EndingGamertag. Thank you all for watching today's video, and I'll see you tomorrow. Adios.